けどこの間の彼女はそれほどトゲトゲしくはなかったな。もう少し。
It's always so hard finding the right words to really display my emotion for Mushoku Tensei and just how awesome and how amazing it is. It's literally probably one of the top 10 animes to me personally of all time. I just really love this show and I love everything that it does. And I think at this point, I don't really have to sit here and just word vomit my praise for this show, because I think if you're watching it at this point and you're this deep into it, you also know and realize on just how different and amazing the show is. And if I had to give just one thing, like one compliment, it just really comes down to the writing and the conveyance of characters and emotions that this really captured. If you think about it, this episode 2 of Rudy's kind of like getting back to everything really conveyed him saving somebody, but in turn saving himself. And what he got out of it was more for him than it was for anybody else. And it's part of that selfishness that's rooted in Rudy. And I think that it's completely okay to be that way. It's completely okay to be selfish by doing a genuine act of kindness. But really, this act was more for him than it was for Sarah, or if it was for the Arrows party or anything like that. It was for him. And at the end of it, he really felt like he got something more out of this interaction and saving Sarah than Sarah got from saving, from being saved. Now, although, that may get kind of twisted later on because Sarah's view of Rudy now is completely different. The fact that she saved him, how he saved her, like everything is different now, obviously. But really, at the end of it, like the one thing I wrote down, like I wrote this line down here, because Rudy said in specific, where was it at? Because I wrote down, ouch. And that one really, he said, Eris turned her back on me, but I won't do that to another. And I was like, oof, like that hurts. Like that seriously is some like legit hurt right there. And I don't know, like at the end of it, we all know like, Eris, Roxy, Sylphie are the main three. They're going to be there. He's going to end up forgiving her, whatever. But like in the interim, I'm so interested on how she gains back his favor, years down the line, months down the line, whenever he interacts with her once again someday. I just don't know how she comes back from that. So I'm going to be very interested to see on how she comes back, because this boy is like, I mean, he's hurt. And I saw like he said that and I was like, oh my God. So incredible episode. Just fantastic. Sarah is definitely, another tsundere character, which Rudy is no stranger to. He calls it out all the time, but I definitely love that. And I think this episode was just amazing. So if you stop the video here, 10 out of 10 episode, loved it. Love Sarah, love all of this, so interesting. I know Sarah probably won't end up being a love interest, but if he could at least have a little fun, that would be really cool. Cause I think that they definitely have some kind of dynamic going there, and I think that would be interesting enough. Okay, so let me kind of talk through everything else, but if you stop here, just know 10 out of 10 episode, let me hear you down in the comments on what your thoughts were. So first and foremost, obviously Rudy's a little bit happier this week. He's coming out of his depresso mode, so I thought that was cool. I like how he gave his biceps nicknames. I like how he gave his legs nicknames, Hercules and Hulk, you know what I mean? He's out there doing the doing the push-ups and working himself out and walking and running and doing all those things. So he's getting yoked, and I love that. I love being able to see him getting yoked and focusing on his body, because it's just going to end up being in his favor later on when he has to act quick, be quick, be ferocious and all those things. I love that. We also found out that, he's been spreading around the word around town for the past couple of months now. He's basically been doing a lot of odd jobs, a lot of odd quests, essentially doing a lot of work that a lot of people don't want to do. So much so that people have called him the Quagmire. That is the nickname that he has earned for himself. So yes, he is Rudius Grey Rat, but he is he is the quagmire now. So I definitely love that. Basically love that. Essentially, somebody who's in a quagmire. If you were to say quagmire, it's just basically somebody who's like in a specific like predicament. And for him, it's definitely his predicament that he's in is trying to locate and find his mom. But by doing all these odd jobs and everything, he's getting a lot of people to speak about him and know him. So by doing acts of kindness and good deeds, if word does come from Zenith, from anywhere apart that happens to come through this town, then, somebody will let him know because of all the word that he's been putting out and the goodwill, that he's been putting out there. So definitely love that quite a bit too. Then we see that, later on, Sarah is legitly just kind of stalking Rudy around, and eventually she ends up asking him out on a quest. She gets mad at him because he doesn't instantly say yes. She's like, just never mind that kind of thing. Very tsundere stuff. He even kind of laughs it off at like, okay, sorry. He ends up going with them. He comes across, during his mission with them, they have to go and get some Drake scales. He comes across a guy who looks like he could be, Paul's brother or something. It's like far, second, third cousin. Basically looks like Paul. Basically very swordsman type, very sword style-esque, basically very Paul-esque. In this, while he's doing this quest, he comes across a statue of Kishirika Kirishu, and I like how he calls it out, like, that doesn't look like her at all, so I thought that was really, really cool, too. Eventually, everything's over. They go through the slicing the monsters and everything. They get in a kerfuffle with Paul's lookalike. And then eventually Sarah asks Rudy to come celebrate with them. The Paul lookalike ends up coming back again, and this is where I did kind of get really angry in the episode. And again, nothing on. I love that I get angry again when if you guys are familiar, if you're here all the time with me, you check out my content, that any anime that invokes emotion is doing something right, even if it's that hatred emotion within you. And Paul's, lookalike, I don't know what his name is, so I'm gonna keep calling him Paul's lookalike, comes in. He just starts giving Rudy a lot of shit about half-assing everything. And he attacks Rudy over and over. And eventually I thought Rudy was going to snap like he did with Paul before. But he didn't. He kept his cool. And then later on we find out that Mimir, part of that Arrows party, and Sarah, he said that they're dead. He said that, Sarah ran away, but they got lost in the blizzard by some blizzard buffalo or something. And immediately he just says, okay, and he takes off. And then he just like overpowers everything. He stops a blizzard with his magic, and then he just ruins everything that he comes across. He eventually finds Sarah inside of some kind of like I forget what those trees are called, but they're like evil trees or something that they can move and stuff. I don't remember what they're called exactly, but he comes across a very powerful tree. We get a really cool Sakuga moments. Again, Sakuga is just those really high production fight scenes really quick, and we get to see him go into action, save Sarah, takes her to a cave, heals her, warms her up and everything. And then they share a really cool little moment with each other where she really genuinely thanks him, and she now sees him in a completely different eye. And that's kind of where that ends. And he thanks the Lord that he can finally get some kind of semblance of sleep that he's been trying to get for a while because he's just been so stressed out about everything that's going on. So this episode was just incredible. I love it. I love Sarah. I love that she got closer to him. I love that she's looking at Rudy a lot different now. And I think if Rudy wanted to pursue that, he probably could get a lot of success there. Will he? I don't know, because we have the three main girls, but it would be nice to see him, start a little bond with somebody who is not the three girls, somebody who's there now and who he could genuinely have a, good relationship with, even if it's just a little fun, even if, it's just like a little fun, and then, it happens to, really just amount to like a long-term friendship later on kind of thing. I think that would be, okay. So we'll see what ends up happening about that. But overall, fantastic episode. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Mushoku Tensei did it again. Freaking love this anime. But can't wait to see next week's episode. And it sucks that we're getting 2 split cores, because then we're going to get to the end point very quick, and then we have to wait. But oh well. Anyways, talk to you guys in the comments. Peace out, my friends.